I've actually forgotten what his car looks like.
Power, 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 speed. Irrelevant.
What's the excuse going to be?
Oh,
Wrong kind of light.
tyre pressures.
Weather. You're lost, in case you're wondering.
This car, faster than a Porsche 911 Turbo.
Yes, of course. How'd you make that out?
Well, if a Porsche's doing 30, I'm doing 35, I could easily get by.
What if it was doing 93?
Well, that would be against the law. He'd hopefully have his licence taken away. There's another thing as well about this.
What?
That is pure Lancia Stratos.
No, it isn't.
No, I'll
It
grant
just
you.
is. What do you mean, no, it
Well, it
isn't?
just isn't.
It says the man in the Indesit.
What? Come on.
We're close to the equator.
We're very close to it. Perhaps we're on it.
No, we can't be. We'd see it, a big dotted line.
This is called 90 Mile Beach because it is exactly 55 miles long. I don't understand that either. What are you doing?
Filling the caravan with petrol.
Why?
So it explodes when the car hits it.
Why would the caravan explode?
Because I filled it with petrol.
But caravans are made from plywood.
I've discovered something. When I turn right, the needle moves up off the stop. So, if I keep turning right, I've got more petrol.
You know, it's hard to explain really to non-car people why rear-wheel drive is important. So let me put it this way. Front-wheel drive is corn flour and rear-wheel drive is a roux.
That's it.
That's quite
What?
good, isn't it?
Yeah, that's good.
What are you going on about, mate?
Well, corn flour, you'd use it to, well, thicken a sauce, say.
Why would you want to thicken the sauce? Ketchup comes out the bottle and it's, that's ketchup. I don't want it thicker. It's just what it is. Why have you got a dog?
I shall show you. Follow me. If you want a pet, you can have something expensive, like an iguana with a silver necklace. Or you can have something cheap, like an ant.
What ant?
That ant. Or you can use your common sense and have a Labrador. Right, that's my drawback.
Well, you can't. I mean, it's a Porsche. You can't hit the speed. It hasn't got the clearance. He ripped his bumper off.
600,000 people a year are killed in the back of ambulances by speed humps.
What you're doing is making that up.
Yes, but making a point as well. I'm making it up to make a point.
If it's one or more, it's an issue.
Go over it too fast, patient dies.
Yeah.
Slow down to make it comfortable, patient dies because they don't reach the hospital in time. Until this government gets rid of every single speed hump, we're all going to die. Things are much the same when it comes to space in the cabin. The Golf can handle 3 people on the back seat easily. But the only way you're going to get 3 people in the back of a BMW is by sawing their legs off with a hammer. Now, this is not only complicated and messy, but in Britain at least, it's currently against the law. Come on! The bone! Oh. One, it's probably easier to buy the Golf, really. I am not doing any hoeing.
I don't even know what hoeing is.
Yeah, well,
And anyway, you don't need a hoe. There's only one tool you need for gardening. And I've got it.
It's a hammer.
It'll be a hammer. It's not a hammer.
This
Is that a hoe?
is all you... No, it isn't. No, if you want to remove a plant, say, OK, there are no thistles at this time of year, but imagine they're thistles. How do you get them up?
Well, you take one of these, which is a trowel,
Yeah.
and then you approach it like that, and you dig round it, lift it, and there it is.
That took you...
About 30 seconds.
Dirty fingernails, cricked back...
It's gardening, that's what you do.
OK, now let me show you how I would remove it, OK? See these 3 here? Ready?
Well, granted, they're gone, but you
They're
can't...
gone.
You can't garden with a
They
shotgun.
have ceased to exist. Observe the genius of my gardening.
I'd rather he had a hammer.
It's a perfectly valid theory, because if you had absolutely no interest whatsoever in how the human body worked, you wouldn't get a job as a surgeon, would you?
No.
If you haven't got the interest, you can't do it. You shouldn't be allowed to do it.
No, exactly. I mean, it would be like asking him to cook Sunday lunch. Could you cook a Sunday lunch?
Yeah, you boil the meat or whatever.
You see,
I'm
look-
not interested in food, so I'm not interested in cooking.
There you are, you see. You wouldn't ask him, because he's not interested, to cook you any food. You wouldn't ask me to do the washing up. You wouldn't ask James to direct a porn film.
Well, you say that. I think I'd actually direct quite a good porn film.
If you directed a porn film, it would be you arriving at the house of the woman in the stockings and the negligee, I've come to fix your boiler. And then you just fix it.
I do.
No, it's...
What's wrong with that?
Now...
No, I agree with you entirely, but the answer is not cubing people's head. The answer is, when the workforce isn't there, do 70.
Well, you're just going to get nicked.
No, but if everybody does 70...
Who here would just do 70 through a set of roadworks with an average speed camera? Nobody, Jen.
No, but that's exactly
you
the
go
problem.
charging through and you're just going to get booked.
No, but that's fine, but you can test it. Stay to 70, because that is the speed limit. You take it to court, in front of a jury, and you argue correctly that it is wrong to apply the 50-mile-an-hour speed limit when there's no one there to protect.
So you're saying it's logic?
It is logic.
It's logic to kill Peter Mandelson.
No, it isn't.
It is.
No.
It is, but you can't do it.
Killing Peter Mandelson is a grey area in the law, but doing 70 miles an hour on the
It's black and
motorway
white.
is an absolute.
How many people went on the anti-war march? 1 million. We went to war. How many people went on the countryside march? 400,000. And fox hunting was still banned. The government's not interested in the will of the people, particularly when it's just one pedantic, long-haired old queen standing up in court saying, oh, well, I did 70 because it's logical.
You're absolutely right. Speed limits on motorways can be a pain, and there's two solutions outlined for you. Revolution or cubing people's heads. Alternatively, you could just leave a bit earlier.
I was driving a Volvo XC60 this week, with the new one. It's got the front of it's all full of radars and sensors, because the idea is you can't actually crash it. Don't ask me how, but anyhow, I was thinking there must be a simpler solution to not crashing. And I think I've come up with it. No, for once, would you bear with me on this, OK? Just imagine if you had on the front of your car a magnet, everybody has one, with the North Pole facing out, OK? So you come along, head-on accident. You could never have a head-on crash. Actually, I think this is one of these windy-up cars, right? So I won't even cheat. Ready? See? You see? Have I just solved road safety? Apart from the big cliff.
I think, do you know, actually, technically you're right about that. The only...
Backing from Captain Maths.
No, but the only slight drawback is on full-size cars you would need extremely large magnets.
Yes, get extremely large.
No, listen,
What?
you haven't thought this through, because at some point there'll be, look, here's a car parked at the traffic lights waiting, you'll come up behind to the other end of his magnet.
Yeah, brake.
And, well, that's his North Pole. You're going to have a crash, because whether you brake or not...
On the south... No,
you'll
that's
be
the South
pulled in
Pole.
south to north, bang, you're going to have a crash, you'll all be killed. Utterly hopeless. We'll all be killed.
These are small details, OK? Think of the fuel saving. Seriously. What? Why wouldn't I get a puncture? Aha! Ah. The man here doesn't look bright.
Yes.
He's just pointed out that you'd be driving along every screw and nail, dunk, 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 on the front, you'd never get a puncture.
Along with the manhole covers and signposts. Yeah. And the railings, and traffic lights, and dogs with metal collars on, and skips.
You are just nitpicking. I will admit there are one or two things I need to address.
Well, like the laws of physics, for example.
Yes, but I will find a way round them, don't you worry. It's an Audi RS4, doors open, bonnet opens, boot, and if I turn the steering wheel, look, can you see that? It actually turns the wheels. Now, I bought this from a major West London retailer the other day for £19.99, which means they're selling it to the retailer, whoever makes it, for a tenner. So why don't they just make it the size of a car? Because it wouldn't be more than £100.
Jeremy, it hasn't got an engine.
Well, how hard can that be? I mean, I know engines are a bit fiddly. Say £30 for the engine, £130, real car size with an engine.
So scale up.
You see where I'm going? Why are cars so expensive?
No, it's interesting, actually, because this is a Range Rover Sport. And look at this, the bonnet fits better than it does on the real one.
But even if it's £500...
So you scale them up to be full size.
Well, you don't need to scale that up.
It's pretty much perfect, actually.
It's Hammond size.
But the doors don't open.
See, all I'm saying is I want to get toy car makers to make their toys bigger, and then we can drive about in them.
No.
What?
Safety.
You haven't thought this through. Well, how fast can a bowler bowl a ball, a really fast cricketist? Anyone?
100.
100 miles an hour?
Yeah.
100 miles an hour, right? So you hand when the ball goes, right? So, excuse me, everyone, I'm just going to pop down here. Now, I'm not a cricketist, okay? So let's say that when this leaves my hand, like a kid, I'm doing, it's 50 miles an hour, okay? But this is 18th scale, so that's actually 900 miles an hour. That's faster than the speed of sound, okay? Ready? I'm going to give it a good... Oh, the steering's... You have to do it with the wheel. Ready? 900 mile an hour impact.
That is pretty astonishing. No, you're right, these things are...
It hasn't even got a paint chip. 900 miles an hour.
So hang on.
I've just tested that out.
This is an Audi RS6 Avant. This is an estate car. It's at 1/40th scale. If I drop it from, what, 10 feet? Well, come on, that's 10 feet, so that's the equivalent of what, James? That's like a 400-foot drop in a car. That would break an ordinary car, and it's rolled... That was a horrendous crash in full size.
And?
Not a mark.
Is it seriously not
not
marked?
a mark. They're very tough.
Have we just solved the car industry's problems? You just... General Motors...
I think it's a
General Motors is over. Corgi, it's the future.